Religious conditioning silences creative voices. In this deeply personal episode, I share my own journey as an ex-Mormon, reclaiming my creativity after years of purity culture control and suppression. Religious shame silences creativity. Here's how I got mine back. Growing up in purity culture, I was taught that my body was dangerous, that my voice should be soft and pleasing, and even a little bit infantilized. That little You almost had to talk like a baby. That my desires, creative or otherwise, were something to control, not something to celebrate. That kind of conditioning doesn't just suppress your sexuality, it silences your creativity. Because creativity is wild, creativity is messy. It doesn't ask for permission. And when you've been told that good girls stay small, stay silent, stay demure, every brushstroke, every song, every moment on stage felt like a rebellion that you might be punished for. I remember a couple of times family members coming to see me on stage when I was singing on the Las Vegas Strip and almost being embarrassed and bringing some of their church friends out to see me and just going, that's not how good Mormon moms, good Mormon women act. And just being horrified, like I was something dirty and horrible. It was terrible. I want to talk about my ex-Mormon journey and the creative cost that came with it. I grew up inside a faith where obedience mattered more than authenticity. My creative fire was seen as something to control, or worse, to tame. For years, I carried this belief that my creativity had to serve something to be valuable. Let me take that back. For years, I battled with the truth that I knew that that wasn't true. For years, I was force-fed this belief that my creativity had to serve something to be valuable. And by serve something, I mean God, the patriarchy. It had to be useful, it had to be pure, and it had to be not too much. And I know that I am not the only one. Anyone raised in systems that prize perfection over authenticity can feel this in their bones. It's like your creative voice is trapped behind glass and you're just watching it aching to break through and like throw a chair through the window, yeah? It's like this silent directive to be small. And that doesn't help you when you're trying to break through other kinds of creative blocks that we battle with just from being human, like imposter syndrome. This is almost like this extra silent permission for you to stay small. It's really, it's icky, it's ick. Purity culture teaches you to shrink, to be agreeable, palatable, and safe. It gives you silent permission to stay invisible. So you give into your imposter syndrome or any of those other pressures you receive from culture and society outside of religion. And it just kind of puts you further and further down the rabbit hole of staying small. And invisibility can make you feel safer until it starts to feel like death in a coffin 6 feet under. Until your creativity starts screaming inside you, let me out. Lately, I've been going to a lot of burlesque shows here in my hometown of Las Vegas, Nevada. Not the male gaze strip clubs, but burlesque, which is a whole different animal. What I see in those women on stage is so much power, grace, beauty, and glory. Not power given to them, but power they own. In the words of Mae West, those who are easily shocked should be shocked more often. A woman that my very purity culture driven mother absolutely detested because she was a woman that owned her sexuality in a time when it wasn't okay to do that for women. We're still fighting the good fight, right? It's not about being objectified in burlesque so much as being the subject of the art that's on stage. Okay? Every move, every costume, every reveal is a declaration. I choose how I am seen. I choose what I give. I choose how I create with my body, with my instrument. And that That's creative sovereignty. That's what religious conditioning tried to take from us. Watching those women is like watching living proof that shame can be alchemized into art, into fire, into something that says, you don't own me anymore. Something that screams, you don't own us anymore. For me, leaving the Mormon church was just the first step. I left the Mormon church over 20 years ago, and I'm still unpacking the trauma that it inflicted on my creativity, on my sexuality, on myself, on my self-image, and my self-worth. So for me, leaving the Mormon church was just the first step. The real healing began when I started creating again, years after I had shed the trauma and the pain and the tragic loss of so many members of my family that just couldn't understand the creature I was becoming and the false self that I was unbecoming. The real healing began when I stopped apologizing for my voice, when I let myself paint, sing, perform, write without the ghost of the good girl looking over my shoulder, hovering over me. I had to unlearn the idea that creativity needed to be quiet, modest, or appropriate. Even though I never really believed that, it was still being force-fed to me year after year, and you hear it, and you hear it, and you hear it over and over and over, and you battle that. So even I did not believe it, I still battled it. Those voices were still shouting. I had to finally release the idea that creativity needed to be quiet, modest, and appropriate. Rather, let me clarify, I stopped looking over my shoulder in case I offended someone. I stopped worrying. And if you're watching this and feeling that same war inside that I fought, I want you to know your art doesn't need to be safe. Your creativity doesn't need to be useful for someone else. It just needs to be yours. I think one of the biggest revelations for me was when I realized that your true art, your true creativity, your true fire, your true authentic voice isn't looking for external reward. When you are raised in a purity culture, everything you do, or a religion for that matter, is reliant on external reward. You did a good job, approval. Once you stop seeking approval for your art, for what you do, making sure that it's okay and you're not offending anyone, that's when you create from truth. For me, I hit this moment of depression when I realized that, well, why am I creating? If I have to create in this box, I'm just a cookie cutter. I'm just creating the same thing everyone else has created before, just with a different face in front of it. That's not creativity. That's professional karaoke. That's a cookie cutter design. That's not the truth of who you are, of what you are creating. If we are not creating for us, if we are creating for approval, to be led into the club, to be led into heaven, to be led into whatever it is, society or culture, we're not creating from truth, and we will feel pointless about it and be depressed. A 1973 study revealed that when kids who already love to draw and write and sing and dance, when they were promised a reward for doing it, they started enjoying the process less. Like if you play your piano for 15 minutes, you'll be able to go outside and play. They noticed that children wanted to do the activity less if they were rewarded for it in some way. They started enjoying it less. They drew less often. Their work lost its spark. But the kids who drew freely and practiced freely and did their art freely without that external reward waiting for them, their passion stayed more alive. So this study exposed this hidden truth that external rewards can kill intrinsic artistic motivation, the kind that comes from within your soul. So as an arts educator myself, this kind of taught me something important. When someone outside of us gives us a reward for something we intrinsically love to do for our own pleasure, then that brain of ours starts doing it for the reward and not for the love. Joy becomes a performance, and play becomes pressure. And our inner flame of creativity that sparks our curiosity begins to go out. So the hidden message to our children is, do this and I'll be proud of you. We start training our children to chase approval, and this is what purity culture does. You have to chase approval of the patriarchal system that set up the purity culture. And you're chasing the approval of the other women within that purity culture, the crabs in the bucket. And when we're seeking approval in any of the arts, we're bound to create something that has already been approved, just to guarantee our approval and our reward. But the high price, the cost for that is that we become depressed and sad and inauthentic. We're not living from our true creative spark inside. We are vicariously living through someone else's art. And this isn't just a message for parents to children. Even outside of purity culture or religion, most of us have grown up in systems that reward the outcome, not the process. Art is a journey, it's not a destination. So now as adults, we struggle to rest, we struggle to create, we struggle to just be, unless we feel like our process is productive and there will be a reward. So we lose that muscle of intrinsic, internal motivation to create something new. We start creating something for a known reward. And we abandon our inner child who just wanted to draw, who just wanted to bang on the piano, who just wanted to dance around the living room, didn't want to go to ballet class and have a recital and get like the applause. They just wanted the joy of movement. That's what I continue to see in the women of burlesque and the men. There's men in the burlesque world too, but what I saw in the women, the joy of movement, the unhinged poetry in motion that was coming from their internal motivation. It's nice to throw your dollars on stage. It's nice to give applause. It's nice to receive those things, but when you feel that internal joy that you did something, you created art from your inside your body that's only yours, that's the true joy, that's the true reward. So now we overthink and we overperform for the reward. We overwork and we measure our worth by what we are achieving, not by how alive we feel in the moment, how alive we feel in the movement and the sound. And so we start to set goals not from our internal desires, which we don't even know what those desires are anymore, right? Because we're creating for the dopamine of the reward, not creating from our desire. And if you're watching, wonderful. You can enjoy it too. But I'm not doing it for you, I'm doing it for me. So we're not doing it for how alive we feel. We're doing it for the dopamine of the reward. It's not good enough. And this is how the reward system gets wired into our nervous system. Someone said it this way: we become the carrot on our own stick. Boom. So how can we do this differently then? We have to draw and dance and sing and emote and write just for the joy of it. And notice the times that you are doing something for approval or validation, to get something back, and gently choose your own presence in the moment over performance and reward. Reclaim the sacredness in the ordinary moments that you are creating. And that one experiment, that one study they did in 1973 speaks to how we educate children, how we educate in the arts, how we parent, and how we live. It shows us that the deepest spark of joy, love, and learning needs freedom, not pressure, and not the promise of reward. We need to unlearn this trap of performance for reward and follow the quiet path of what feels good, even if nobody is clapping in the audience for you. Creativity is one of the fastest ways to reclaim the parts of you that purity culture buried, the parts of you that are screaming in that coffin 6 feet under. Every time you create something that is for you and not for the approval of others, you are rewriting the script. You're saying, I'm not here to be perfect. I am here to be whole. If you are on your own journey of shaking off religious conditioning, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment, tag someone, share this with somebody who's ready to burn the old rules and reclaim their creative power. Better yet, hit me up in the comments if you are a burlesque dancer. I love my burlesques. And if this speaks to your soul, subscribe or ring that bell, because this community is about exactly that. Healing through creativity, reclaiming your voice, and creating without shame. I'll see you in the next video.